From the bustling streets of Nigeria to the glittering landscapes of Dubai, the story of Ramon Abbas, known as Hushpuppy, is a roller coaster journey through the realms of glamour and deceit. An influencer extraordinaire, he soared from obscurity to commanding the devotion of millions, painting a portrait of the ultimate rags-to-riches saga. Yet, even as he reveled in the splendors of penthouses and designer labels, the pendulum swung, leading him from the pinnacle of opulence to the stark confines of a prison cell. Hushpuppy, a name whispered in both admiration and admonishment, carved a niche on Instagram that epitomized a life of extravagance. From Fendi to Gucci, from the luxurious embrace of Louis Vuitton to the decadent allure of custom cakes on his birthdays, he lived the dream that many fantasize about. Yet, this dream would shatter in 2020 when the heavy knock of a SWAT team reverberated through his slumber, dismantling his empire of indulgence and replacing it with the harsh reality of concrete walls.
A Nigerian Instagram influencer who posted pictures of his lavish lifestyle could spend the next 20 years in a prison cell. Ramon Abbas, aka Hushpuppy, has pleaded guilty to money laundering in a U.S. federal court. The U.S. Justice Department says his victims lost more than $24 million.
Ramon Abbas, birth name of the man behind the legend, had emerged from the depths of Lagos poverty. A son of a taxi driver and a mother who peddled bread on the streets, his childhood was marked by want. Yet a relentless desire for wealth and luxury propelled him to chart a different course. From reselling designer clothes out of his car's trunk, he traversed a path that would soon entangle him in the underbelly of cybercrime, joining the infamous ranks of the Yahoo Boys. The early 2000s witnessed the proliferation of cyber cafes across Nigeria, providing a haven for unemployed youth. What began as entertainment soon transformed into criminal enterprises, including romance scams and check cashing. Leveraging free Yahoo email accounts, young men like Abbas became adept at conning unsuspecting individuals, eventually earning themselves the moniker Yahoo Boys. Their virtual escapades led them down the rabbit hole of deception, draining the bank accounts of their victims they called MAGA. However, as Nigeria's security forces cracked down on cybercrime, Abbas found himself in the crosshairs of law enforcement, EFCC. Escaping the tightening grip, he sought refuge in Malaysia, a country with more lenient internet regulations. There he honed his craft, rising to the pinnacle of his game. And in this moment, Hushpuppy was born. With a social media handle that would soon echo through the digital corridors, Hushpuppy embraced Instagram as his canvas. His posts weren't just about showcasing his newfound wealth. They were aspirational stories of breaking free from poverty's clutches. As followers flocked, he embraced the trappings of his success: designer labels, luxury watches, and high-end cars, all intertwined with hashtags for Gucci, Fendi, Versace, and Rolls-Royce. His Instagram bio proudly displayed "Billionaire Gucci Master," attracting more followers as he continued to flaunt his newfound wealth. At the zenith of his digital reign, an astounding 2.8 million individuals tuned in to witness his posts, a virtual spectacle that showcased his custom-made purple Rolls-Royce, his high-soaring escapades on private jets, and extravagant shopping sprees in the lap of Fendi luxury. His fame transcended the confines of a mere influencer. He was a bona fide celebrity in Nigeria's constellation, his star radiant enough to draw gifts from the creme de la creme of designer brands. From trainers to all-expenses-paid trip to the Ritz Paris as a Louis Vuitton VIP guest, and invitations to dine with society's elite, including an event at Versace's Kuala Lumpur branch, showcased his prominence. With fellow influencer Samson Oyokunle, he was even bestowed gifts for being the store's top customers. He commemorated these occasions by spending an additional $20,000 and sharing every detail on his Instagram. Simultaneously, a new chapter unfurled as he forged an alliance with another online influencer, Ismaili Mustafa, known as Mamfa, Together, they paraded their riches and designer collections, garnering recognition in the song Living Things by Nice. However, a true influencer's journey is incomplete without the turbulence of online feuds. Some conflicts seemed scripted, such as his dispute with musician Davido over an unpaid bar tab in Lagos. Yet through a Snapchat video, they reconciled, each reaping heightened follower counts as a reward. However, not every tale concluded with a harmonious resolution. Some disputes bore the venom of exposure. A heated episode saw him accusing rapper Fino of adorning counterfeit watches, which in turn incited singer KC to pierce through the veils, challenging his legitimacy, income source, and societal contributions. Each of these real-time altercations, meticulously etched into the digital chronicles of social media, cast a kaleidoscope light upon his enigmatic persona. Yet, for all his digital transparency, an enigmatic shroud enshrouded the wellspring of his opulent life. Queries regarding his lavish lifestyle were often met with cryptic allusions to real estate investments, an explanation that most found wanting in its credibility. The nebulous nature of his riches remained impervious to the curious gaze. For while the realm of romance scams might yield a modest bounty, a figure perhaps reaching six figures, Abbas was evidently amassing a fortune on an entirely different echelon, a web intricately spun, concealing his involvement in large-scale fraud. Abbas's wealth's true origin lay in business email compromise scams, BECS. Recognizing that the real money wasn't in defrauding individuals, but rather in targeting multi-million-dollar companies, he delved into the world of cybercrime. Despite its staggering profitability, accounting for over 40% of fraud funds and totaling $1.8 billion yearly, BECS rarely made headlines due to its embarrassment-inducing impact on victimized companies. A typical BEC scam involved hacking into corporate email addresses, often achieved through phishing or password guessing. When security measures were lax, scammers patiently waited for significant invoices. Seizing the opportunity, they'd either intercept the invoice or fabricate an almost identical one with altered bank details. They could also mimic legitimate addresses, apologizing for incorrect details and providing their own, convincing recipients to redirect payments to the scammer's account. This elaborate ruse could even include fake websites, phone hotlines, and identities to validate the deception. Once the funds reached the scammer's account, they'd rapidly disperse them to numerous mule accounts, convert them to Bitcoin, or acquire physical valuables like jewelry. This laundering process obscured the money's source and thwarted victims from reclaiming their funds. An illustrative case involved a New York law firm unknowingly wiring $922,000 to Abbas's account through manipulated communication. These crimes, complex in scale, necessitated an entire network of scammers. Roles ranged from setting up fraudulent bank accounts and websites to infiltrating email accounts and laundering money. Money mules, often victims of romance scams, were critical in laundering funds. Crimes of such magnitude are far beyond the scope of a single individual. They require an intricate network of collaborators. These cohorts encompass a diverse range of roles, some dedicated to crafting false bank accounts, others designing deceptive websites, and yet more focused on infiltrating email systems. Among them, money mules play a pivotal role, often unwittingly sucked into the web of deceit through romance scams. Among these nefarious schemers, Abbas emerges as a standout BEC artist, surrounded by an extensive web of connections. One prominent figure in his sinister ensemble is Galeb Alamari, a Canadian money launderer. Alamari's pivotal task involved funneling the ill-gotten gains into Abbas's coffers, a partnership forged in the crucible of their most audacious heists. Their most daring escapade unfurled in the vaulted halls of the Bank of Valletta in Malta. Orchestrated through coded conversations on Snapchat and Abbas's Instagram, this grand affair involved the pilfering of an astonishing 13 million euros. The playbook was as audacious as it was cunning. Hackers breached the French stock exchange regulator, masquerading as the very authorities meant to safeguard financial integrity. These imposters sent meticulously crafted phishing emails, ensnaring a vulnerable employee of the Maltese bank. With access to the bank's fortified payment system secured, the hackers executed a seamless ballet of transactions, with millions vanishing into the digital ether. In this intricate ballet of fraud, Abbas's role was crucial. Armed with a treasure trove of bank accounts, he provided safe havens for the funneling of millions, where no blocks hindered their flow. These funds were destined to be laundered swiftly before any trace could be established. However, fate intervened this time. The money's velocity outpaced Abbas's best efforts, and much of the missing fortune was recovered by the bank, foiling their grand plot. A humbling "damn" was all Abbas could muster when Alamari sent him a screenshot of their thwarted ambitions. Undeterred, Alamari rebounded with a defiant statement. "The next one is in a few weeks. We'll let you know when it's ready. Too bad they caught on, otherwise it would have been a nice payday." Similarly undisturbed, Abbas's response was a return to his ostentatious ways. Adorned in head-to-toe Fendi, he leaned casually on a $160,000 sports car. A triumphant declaration followed, announcing his acquisition of a new Bentley Bentayga for Valentine's, an emblematic celebration of opulence during the season of love. Regrettably for Abbas, not every link in his criminal web shared his and Alamari's nonchalant demeanor. In an alternate scam, he had aligned with a Kenyan entrepreneur named Juma to swindle a Qatari business magnate out of a staggering $1.1 million. The target's aspirations revolved around establishing a new school in Qatar, necessitating a hefty $15 million loan to fuel the venture. The hitch was that his local bank was hesitant to extend such an amount. Thus, he engaged a financial advisor who promptly resorted to the trusty ally of all, Google. The search landed them on Juma's nefarious website, an ominous omen of what was to unfold. In this shadowy collaboration, Abbas and Juma assumed identities that were as false as they were compelling. Months elapsed as they artfully manipulated the businessman, ingeniously weaving a tale of a loan arrangement accompanied by six-figure fees. Every time the unfortunate victim grew anxious over the money's elusive appearance, Abbas and Juma were quick to strike. Their response was swift, a demand for more funds, a ploy to finally unleash the loan. Yet, their grand finale involved an additional layer of deception. They enlisted Vincent Chibuzu, tasking him with crafting an elaborate facade, a counterfeit Wells Fargo website complete with an automated hotline. When the businessman eventually made the call, the automated voice exulted that the awaited $15 million had triumphantly landed in his account. Jubilation was fleeting, however, as reality crashed back. Abbas's request for a colossal $575,000 withholding tax to facilitate the money's exit from the U.S. burst the bubble. Here, Chibuzu took the spotlight, launching his bid for a larger slice of the ill-gotten pie. But Abbas quashed his aspirations. Foiled and furious, Chibuzu did the unthinkable. He exposed the scam to the duped client. Naturally, Abbas's reaction to this betrayal was more than heated. He reached out to a figure named Abba Kyari, a name that resonated within Nigeria's law enforcement circles. The astonishing aspect? Kyari was not a mere thug. He stood as Nigeria's deputy police commissioner, a beacon of integrity in a system often criticized for corruption. Yet, the message Abbas dispatched was not merely a product of history's most embarrassing typo. It was a bona fide call for a beating for hire, an unimaginable request. Kyari's chilling response, with bank account details, sent shivers down the spine. The result? Chibuzu found himself incarcerated. A photograph of his confinement sent as a chilling memento to Abbas. Curiously, even when Chibuzu's girlfriend made a desperate play to liberate him with a bribe, Kyari remained unfazed. His retort crystallized the power play at hand. No money can remove him here. Ironically, Abbas's profession as a money launderer revolved around masking illicit funds as legitimate resources, a craft he masterfully executed in his criminal endeavors. Yet, the very art he specialized in seemed lost on his personal life. The allure of approval-seeking likes and an insatiable urge to flaunt his newfound opulence on Instagram proved far too irresistible. Little did he realize, amidst his 2.8 million followers, a network of agents diligently worked to bring him to justice. The FBI's suspicions regarding the dubious origins of Hushpuppy's wealth were hardly surprising. However, uncovering his true identity remained an enigma until his birthday post, spotlighting the lavish cake gifted by Gucci. Armed with this minor detail, his birthday, the agents traced his path back to a visa application, unfurling a clearer portrait of his activities. The startling truth emerged. Abbas was a prodigious money launderer. The FBI, poised to convert suspicions into irrefutable evidence, initiated surveillance, yearning for the breakthrough to lock him away. Ultimately, his downfall was anchored in one of his most triumphant heists, the windfall from a New York law firm. Following the $922,000 deposit into the Chase bank account in October 2019, Abbas moved swiftly, distributing $396,000 to a Canadian account. He enlisted Alamari's validation, but fate took a rapid twist. Just as Alamari's plane touched down, a storm of FBI agents descended, apprehending him. Concurrently, Abbas's longtime associate, Mamfa, found himself arrested in Nigeria, charged with fraud and money laundering. At this juncture, Abbas's vanishing act was due, yet incredibly, he persisted. Despite the incriminating trail emanating from Alamari's Snapchat, linked directly to the email address rayhushpuppi@gmail.com, he nonchalantly persisted on Instagram, sharing images of luxury, Fendi bags, and opulent hot tubs. His only stratagem was a shift in his bio, from billionaire Gucci master to the more innocuous real estate developer. Simultaneously, the FBI joined forces with the UAE authorities, orchestrating a meticulous surveillance operation. On June 8, 2020, as Abbas slumbered, a Dubai SWAT team stormed his abode. The arrest was swift, and their haul was staggering. 47 phones, 21 laptops, luxury cars worth $7 million, a fortune of $40 million, and a treasure trove of 2 million potential victim email addresses. The Dubai authorities commemorated their success with a stylized short film titled Operation Fox Hunt 2. Transported to Chicago, Abbas faced trial in November 2022. He confessed to his offenses against the Qatari businessman, the Maltese bank, and numerous others, with a cumulative value exceeding $24 million. A sentence of 135 months in federal prison and restitution of over $1.7 million was delivered. Legal officials labeled him one of the world's most prolific money launderers, a designation that satisfies his longtime skeptics. The spectacle of his luxurious lifestyle had now shifted to a prison cell, marked by a glaring absence of Gucci and an unlikely collection of sneakers. We've come to an end of our story today. If you found this story captivating and want to stay updated on more intriguing tales, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our previous videos on YouTube. Thanks.